Here's my audience. Picture this. You're hanging out with all your new friends, and then the music starts playing. Your friend Anna starts breakdancing. Everyone's crowded around her. They're cheering her on. They're all excited about it. And then over here, your friend Michael, he starts playing some elaborate song on the piano, and your other friend starts singing to it. And then suddenly, you're in the midst of all these talented people, and you don't have a party trick. Well, today, I'm going to teach you something you can do almost anywhere to impress your friends. I'm going to teach you how to jump off the ground, fully rotate, and then land back on your feet. It's also known as the standing tuck. I have had a standing tuck for at least 9 years right now. I've also been a cheerleading coach and a tumbling instructor for 4. So I'm very qualified to teach a tuck. I've taught it to many people, and I think you can do it too. Before we start to flip, safety concerns I have, and that we need to just make sure we cover real quick, is you need to wear athletic clothing. You don't want to be flipping over in your triple extra large sweatshirt because you're going to get tangled and fall. You don't want to do things like tuck in jeans because they're not going to be stretchy. It's going to be hard to pull your legs up. And things like heavy shoes are going to make the work twice as hard for you in the long run. So just make sure you wear like tight, loose clothing, light things like that. Also, before we start flipping, make sure we're going to stretch. You don't want to pull any muscles. Tucks use a lot more muscles than you think they do. There's a lot of abs involved. Make sure that you're not going to pull a muscle while you're upside down and freak out mid-flip. Okay, so now that we know what kind of clothing we should wear and that we should be stretching and making sure our bodies are warm and ready to tuck, we can move on to the actual flipping. The first thing you're going to do is you have to get off the ground first. What you're going to do is you're going to swing, and whenever you swing, you have to jump up off the ground, and you want to put both arms by your ears like a touchdown motion, like a referee at a football game. You want to do that so that makes sure your jump goes higher. So that way you're not flipping and you're only 2 feet off the ground. Whenever you do that, make sure you're practicing that so you get that consistent every single time, so that way you know exactly what to expect when you're actually going to flip. Make sure your jump is consistent. You're swinging, you're jumping up, pushing off the ground through your toes, and your arms are straight up by your ears every single time. Once you've done that, you can move on to actually flipping. Before you flip, you have to commit. You don't have to commit to marrying a standing tuck. You don't have to commit to doing a standing tuck every time someone says your name for the rest of your life. But every time you start a tuck, you have to commit to finishing that one single tuck every single time. If you start doing your tuck and in the middle you get scared and you decide you don't want to do a tuck anymore, your head is going to be pointed towards the ground, and that's just going to cause further injury. You don't want to freak out in the middle of the tuck. Make sure once you start a tuck, you're going to finish a tuck. Okay, so now that we have covered commitment, no, it's scary, let's move on to flipping. When you're actually flipping, you're going to practice your jump. Whenever you're jumping, think about your highest point. You don't want to be flipping like mid-jump because you're not going to be very high off the ground. Make sure you jump all the way up with your arms by your ears so that way you're high. And then whenever you flip, don't think about just balling up. Think about driving your shins over your forehead. So whenever you jump, go to your highest point, drive your shins up, and then that's going to be your flip. That's going to make you rotate your hips, and is going to be your pivot point. So make sure whenever you're driving your shins, you're also bringing your hips with you. And the third part of a tuck is going to be your landing. You've already jumped off the ground. You're already flipping. What are you going to do next? You're coming back to the ground whether you want to or not. So let's hope we all get back to our feet. When you're flipping, don't close your eyes. You need to know where you are because it's something new. You can't feel it. When you're flipping, keep your eyes open. Whenever you're tucking, look for the ground. See it, know it's going there, and think about putting your heels to the ground, driving your heels. That way it's going to ensure that you get your whole foot on the ground. You're not going to catch your toes and then fall flat on your face. It's going to get you flat on your feet. So tucking, we're going to drive our shins and our hips. We're going to look for the ground and then drive our heels to it. So now that we know all 3 aspects of a tuck, make sure you're practicing it safely. So if you need to, get a spotter. If you think that you need help, like you're scared, unsure about the first few times, make sure someone's there to help you and catch you in case something goes wrong. Also make sure tumbling on approved surfaces. ACCA approved surfaces include grass, cheerleading mats, and a rubberized track. However, I would not go for a rubberized track first. Go for something a little softer, maybe a trampoline if you want to learn there first. Just make sure you're not doing it on concrete and bricks and the road, asphalt, things like that, because you don't want to get yourself hurt if something does go wrong until you're very confident in the skill. So, to go back over, we're going to jump off the ground with our arms by our ears in a touchdown motion. We're driving our shins and our hips up so that way we're higher off the ground. And then we're spotting for the ground and driving our heels to it. So next time you're at your party, Michael starts playing the piano. He's doing this elaborate song. He's playing Elvis Presley. You can just say, "Hey guys," and you can whip out your standing tuck, and all your friends are going to be really impressed.